Mark here, and today we're going to look at the M1 Laser Engraver by xTool, and that's going to be our machine for this project. So this project, I got inspired by a local coffee house. I was in getting coffee one day, and I saw on the wall they had this nice kind of artwork, writing, and I thought this might be something good for my place of work. So we had just moved into a new building over the holidays, and we've been putting the lunchroom together, and it's finally all finished, and it's got a coffee machine front and center. But the backing looks a little bland, and I thought this might be something that I can play around with and have a little fun with. So I'm sitting at my computer here. I've got the xTool Creative Suite set up, so we'll jump into the program here. So this is the xTool Creative Suite, and what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to open import an image right here. Okay, so we've got coffee time. Here we go here. So what I've done is I've got a PNG, I've got my original JPEG, and I am going to select the DXF file. Now, as I mentioned, I did this on Photoshop. I made the image and then I took it over and put it into Illustrator, just because that's the way I've done it. And you kind of get used to things. But you can actually take a JPEG image or a PNG image and put it right into this program, and it will turn it into what's called a vector. Now vectors are of course used for cutting, JPEG and PNGs are for engraving. So there's two different sections there. So we've now got this in here. You can see there it is. We have score, cut, and engrave. So you can see with engraving, it just goes all black because it's actually going to engrave that. We don't want to do that. We want to actually cut it. Now, I have done some testing on this material, and if we grab here, so this is my testing grid. So what I've done here is I've got my speed on the one side, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and my power 25, 50, 75, 100. And it goes and it does that grid. And you can make that grid right in the software. You just select how many rows you want, what your power and what your speed range is, and it'll pop that out for you. So if you look on the back here, you will see right up here, it almost went through on the 100 speed and 2. So I was playing around a little bit, and then of course this one here where it's missing, this is actually 100 power by 3 speed, 3 millimeters per second, but 2 passes. So we're gonna have to go with 2 passes on that, which is fine. Again, if you have a more powerful, or you get a more powerful laser, like the S1 or the P2 laser engraver. With the P2 laser engraver, which is the CO2 laser, you can actually run it at 12 millimeters per second at 100 power and just do it in 1 pass. So depending on what kind of material you're going to be using and what kind of things you're going to be doing, there's a multitude of different tools by xTool. One of them is also called the F1. So if you're into smaller things, like doing a lot of jewelry etching and such, that one works really good for jewelry as well. But I'll put a link or multiple links down in the description of this video, and there's actually some discount codes that you can apply, and you can check that out down in the description as well. So we're going to jump back into the program here. All right, so from this view you can see the xTool is connected. I've got this connected via USB, and there is a thickness gauge here. So you have to click on this for it to measure the distance the laser is away from the material so it can focus in and do its job properly. So if we click that, it's going to think do its thing, and it will spit out a number here. So it's saying the thickness of this material, 5.99. It's the distance that it is away from the material, and that's what it's got in its calculation for thickness. Now also, I want to maximize this project on, this is another piece, I cut a number of them out. So if we measure this through, I'm looking at a height of my project. This is showing me about 250 millimeters, which, you know, that's the height. So I've cut my wood for the size of that project. So I'm going to stick with, just to give a little bit of breathing room, I'm probably going to go 240 millimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the entire project, and we want to go, so our current sizing is 218 millimeters by 128. So what we want to do is we want the height to be 240. And this little guy here just means that the aspect ratio has been locked. So it's going to change accordingly. So I'll hit enter, and there we go. We've now adjusted that. Now, if you look, we're kind of a little bit bigger, but that's not a problem. So we want the height, and that fits about there. So what we're going to then do is we're going to right click here, and we're going to ungroup it. Click off of it, and then we'll be able to grab each individual component, and they don't really have to be where they're going to be in the final project, right? This is how I've designed it, is that's what it looks like. Whoops. Let's undo that. There is an undo button. I want to select the mug. Okay, so there's the mug. So we can kind of put this in here. It doesn't have to line up. We can fix that once it's cut out and done. So there we go. So now we're all set up, height and width, everything fits on there. So the next thing to do is we're going to set the power. So we know that we need to do 2 passes. It's going to be 3 millimeters per second, and it's going to be 100% power. So what we're going to do there is we want to make sure that we've selected everything right across the board. Here it is. We have cut. Our power, we want to slide right up to 100%. And our speed, we're going to go at 3. And then we've got our passes as well, which is 2 passes. And that's pretty much it. So we've got everything selected, everything's on there. The next thing to do is to frame it. So we're going to want to make sure that we are set properly. The laser head will then move and outline the area on our project, and we can have a look at that and make sure everything's lined up. So I'll go over to framing here, and we'll click on framing. And it's going to say, okay, framing, it's ready. You want to push the button on the front of the machine. So here's the machine here, and you can see how it's got just a glow. And if we look inside here, let's see if I can get it without any kind of reflection. There is our project there. I hit the button. A little hard to see, but there's a little laser that's shining on there, and I can see that it is within parameters. With that being done, we want to select framing complete, and we are now good. So here we are going to cut it 100% at 3 millimeters per second and 2 passes. Next step, once we've confirmed that, we're going to hit process, and it's going to think for a second here, and then it's going to bring up our project. Now xTool uses a little bit of AI to try to figure out the best path to do it as fast as possible. Some laser engravers will go and do the center of the O's or E's. It'll do all those first, and then it'll come back and do what the xTool software does, and it's been improving all the time, is it looks at it and says, what's the best way to do this? So if we go back here, you can actually see, and we can zoom in and look at this. It's going to move over to this point here. It's going to do these 2, and it's going to work through, and it's going to do it as efficiently as it can. So we'll just go and we'll hit start button, and it will then tell us that when we're ready, please press the button on the front of the machine. All right, there it is. Open this up, and there we go. There is our project. So if we just grab the edge, so we may just have to pop it out a bit. Okay, so there it is. I just have to pop it out. There's my little cup. And the rest of it, I have broken things before, so don't get, too excited to take them apart. Sometimes you get little pieces that just hang on, but you just have to apply a little bit of pressure just to kind of take it all apart. So what I'll do is I will, I believe the term is weeding. It is in decal making anyway. I'm going to weed them. And then what we'll do is we'll move on to the painting process. From my experience, it takes a few coats of paint. So this is just the raw high density board. Now, I have used this type of material. So this is kind of a laminate type material, both front and back. I found this, although it's a little bit more expensive, of course, works really good, but you're probably going to save the money in the paint. Now, I've painted this type of wood before, this unlaminated stuff, and it can take about 4 coats of paint because it just soaks it up. With this, you can get away with 1, maybe 2 coats if you want a nice sheen to it. So anyway, we're going to go set up out in the other room. I'll probably do a little bit of painting outside and then bring it in, and we'll see how it looks. Final review. Okay, all done. I use this this tray here to make it a little bit easier. I'm not getting paint everywhere. So it did actually take 4 coats of paint. It does just suck it right up. So here you can see there's my coffee. Get that sheen in there. There you go. So that's what I want. I wanted that nice gloss look to it. And the reason for that is I kind of want it to look like acrylic, but acrylic is quite expensive. So in laying it out here, and you can place it however you want. Let's just take a look here, and there it is. So coffee time. So, and it looks really nice, especially on a kind of a white, as I did at work. Here's the photo again from at work. It looks really nice on a subway tile background, and it really makes it pop. So the total cut time of that took about an hour. So it does take a little bit of time to do. Of course, that's the 10-watt laser. If you're looking at the 40-watt laser or the 55-watt CO2 laser, you can cut that time down 10 to 15 minutes to do a project like this. So more power equals faster or thicker material that you can cut. So I hope you found this video useful. Again, I'll put all the links down in the description. There's some discount links there as well, some codes. So be sure to check that out and leave a comment and let me know what you think of this and what other projects you would like to see. Take care.